Okay, I'm Grace Power, and I am going to continue showing you some of the little tips and tricks that I just recently learned this last weekend that make sugaring a lot more effective, less painful, and I think those are the two main things. So, and less work, I should say that. So I'm just going to set this here, and I'm going to be demonstrating on my arm. Let's make sure that it's going to hold there. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that this has some cleanser on it. You want to make sure the surface that you're sugaring is completely clean of any oils, dirt, lotions. It needs to be clean and it needs to be dry. This is just a dry gauze, so I'm just going to dry that off. If you've seen some of my other videos, as a big advocate of powder, and with these new techniques that I've been learning, powder is not as necessary unless the skin or the area that you're working on is either oilyish or just has some wetness to it, like sweat and that kind of thing. But even in those situations, it's going to be better to clean it and make sure it's dry by cleaning it. So one of the things I learned is to make sure that the sugar is going on very thin. Before, when I would sugar, I was not so concerned about the thickness or thinness of the sugar. But come to find out, the thinner the sugar, the more hair it's going to grab. You still need it to be, somewhat thick, just so it comes off. But it can be very thin. One of the ways to make it thin is to curl your fingers a little bit at the end, and that helps you kind of plow the sugar, and it'll go on thinner. This is really important too for the fine hairs on an arm or a leg or a face. That was one of the tricks that I was trying to figure out with sugar. It didn't seem very effective on fine hairs. I think the problem was I was putting it on too thick. Sometimes this can be attributed to the actual sugar paste that you're using too. The company that I order from has a variety of sugar pastes, some thinner, some thicker. And come to find out, we were using a little bit too thick of paste to get the results that we wanted. So this paste here is a softer paste than what I've used previously. And you can just, I don't know how good this lighting is in here, but it's really getting out the hairs extremely well. One of the other facts of sugaring is usually we're always taught to go against the hair and pull with the hair. And one of the things we learned in this class is that it doesn't always have to be that way. You can go sideways on the hair, which I'm kind of doing mostly right now on my arm because my hair grows sideways, and yet I'm going down on it. My hair kind of grows more in this direction, and I'm sugaring in this direction. And that's okay. As long as the hair is coming out. If you put it on one way and not very much hairs come out, try it a different direction and see if that works. You really want to take your time with sugaring too. You can tell that I've really slowed down my pace compared to some of my other videos. And so really taking your time, letting that sugar sink into the hair follicle is going to make the biggest difference, more so than putting it on really fast and taking it off really fast. It's better just to put it on really slow, like I'm demonstrating here, using the claw method to make sure it's going on thin, and just letting that sugar soak into the hair follicle. So now when I flick, more hair is going to come out, which means less time going over an area. The goal is really to get all the hair gone in one swipe. Another thing that really helps get the hair better is pulling the skin super duper tight, which I cannot do with my arm right now because I don't have another arm to hold it to hold the skin tight. But when you have two hands, you can use one hand to hold the skin really tight. You could even ask your friend or customer, if you're working on somebody, if you're sugaring someone else, you can ask them to help hold the skin really tight too. So then you have four hands to help you. So again, just going on really slow, putting it on really thin. All right. So those are some of my tips. I'm going to finish my arm now, so thanks for tuning in. See you later.